About time. I am going to work out this year. Let's get it. Really? Well, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? What kind of workout? Give me some ideas. Oh, I'll probably just lift weight. No. I'm probably going to do CrossFit. No. Or maybe HIIT. Or. Oh my god, how am I supposed to know? All right, the first thing to know is what types of workouts exist in order to figure out which one's right for you. There's four main types. First one's going to be endurance, also known as aerobic training. Then you have strength training, then you'll have balance training, and then finally flexibility training. Let's get into each one of these little categories here. Of course, endurance aerobic training is first. This is defined as when the body produces energy in the presence of oxygen, raising that heart rate and all that good stuff. Light to medium intensity is defined as 60 to 75% of your max effort, or your heart rate's at 60 to 75% of your max effort, and at times it'll soar to over 90% during intense bouts. So typically you want to stay in the medium intensity range, depending on your age and abilities and all that, and what workouts you're doing, of course. The benefits here, the biggest one here is it's called excessive post-exercise oxygen consumption. It's a phenomenon, fat-burning phenomenon. It's also known as the afterburn effect. Basically what this really means is after these endurance-type workouts, it takes longer for your body to recover and return to its normal level. Thereby, what the body is doing at the same time, it's increasing your metabolism, reducing body fat, and the more you do this, the more your oxygen will develop to utilize for longer. So, of course, if you have a run or anything like that, the longer you do it, you raise your you raise your oxygen levels and things like that. That way you could, maybe when you start off, you can run a quarter mile, but 3 years later, you're probably running 5 miles, no problem. So it's just the way it goes. Of course, it has improved overall fitness. Everything's just going to be better. Like, it's a good whole body kind of routine. Gives you ease in performing routine activities. Like we talked about this in my other video. It just makes everything easier. Walking around is easier. If you got to jog across the street, that's easy. Things like that. You're not going to go up a flight of stairs to get to your apartment and, be out of breath. There's also improved health for your heart, lungs, and circulatory system. So, it's just really good for the health. And then, of course, it could lower the risk of diseases such as diabetes, colon cancer, breast cancer, and heart disease. Some of the examples of this are brisk walking. I put brisk in caps because, normally I see people just walking on a treadmill very slowly. It's not doing much. It's doing something, but brisk walking, like actually put effort in. This is not an everyday walk on the street. This is like you see the old timers, they're out there swinging their arms and all that. That's a brisk walk. Of course, you got jogging, cycling, swimming, and then dancing with like Zumba classes, climbing stairs, and of course sports. So there's a whole slew of events here. Then, of course, the recommendations from the American Heart Association, they recommend 150 minutes or 2.5 hours per week of moderate intensity aerobic activity, 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic activity, or a combination of both. So basically, you should, try to get out there and get a few hours in a week is really what it says. So do the best you can with your schedule, of course. Now that moves us on to strength training. This is training we're talking about here is utilizing resistance or added weight to build strength. There's some benefits to this. So, of course, improve muscle strength and tone, weight management. Believe it or not, you can lose weight lifting weights. Improve sense of well-being. Get that motivation, the mental motivation going. Greater stamina, prevention or control of chronic conditions. And greater stamina is, I have a hard time, mostly injured, so I can't really do much cardio. But I'll tell you what, you can build a cardiovascular endurance actually doing weights, with higher rep sets and all that good stuff, lower weight. Especially, we'll talk about hypertrophy workouts, things like that a little later here, but you can actually build up stamina and all that. So, and then some of the examples here, of course, are lifting weights is the most common one. You can also just use body weight workouts and then the resistance band workouts. Like, believe it or not, I had a hard time when COVID kicked off a few years back, and I couldn't go to the gym, and I didn't have my own gym yet, and I was like, oh man, no more weightlifting. I want to lose all my size and all that. Not true. You can use resistance bands to just as easy if you have them. So I suggest everyone have them, especially if you travel, because your body doesn't know the difference if it's a weight or a band or whatever. Resistance is resistance, so it's better than just body weight. But this all works. This is all considered strength training. Then the American Heart Association, they recommend moderate to high intensity muscle strengthening activity at least 2 days per week. Now this brings us on to balance training. This is going to be pretty obvious what it sounds like. It focuses on muscles that support body mechanics, which keeps us upright. Of course, the benefits here, of course, is an increase in proprioception. And you're probably like me and like, wow, I can barely pronounce the word. Like, what in God's name is proprioception? It's proprioception or kinesthesia. It's a sense that lets us perceive the location, movement, and action of parts of the body. So essentially knowing, it says it encompasses a complex of sensations, including perception of joint position and movement, muscle force, and effort. So, knowing how much effort you're putting in, if I want to close the door, I'm not just slamming it because I'm just so strong. I'm not just breaking things at will. It's a good increase on that. And just knowing where you're at all times. It just sounds silly, but it's highly important, especially as the older you get. The good thing about balance training is it also reduces risk of fall injuries. It's a huge thing, especially as you get older. And then it increases neuroplasticity and cognitive function. And the next learning point is, what is neuroplasticity? It's defined as the ability of the nervous system to change its activity in response to intrinsic or extrinsic stimuli by reorganizing its structure, functions, or connections after injuries, such as a stroke or a traumatic brain injury. So the big thing is here, the whole idea is how to restore your function, stuff like that. So let's say you walk, I personally have 7 TBIs, but I've lucked out and all my stuff's pretty restored. But let's just say, some people, like, they hit their head once and, they can't move their right arm anymore for whatever reason. Just a weird example. But then this could help, increase that and get all those functioning, the mental functions to get back in there to actually increase this. So you can move that right arm again, if that makes sense. Next, the examples of this, there's not that many, but you got yoga, Tai Chi, and then, of course, in meditation, that's more the emotional balance side of the house. But yeah, these things do exist, and you should probably try to incorporate these. AHA doesn't have a recommendation for when to incorporate these, but I would recommend these. I put down an asterisk down there. Great for older people because, yes, this is very, very important. I'm bad with this. I don't do it personally, but I've done yoga in the past, and it's pretty great. So if you have time for it, by all means. Then finally, with flexibility training, of course, that's just stretching the muscles. The benefits of this is to maintain and improve your range of motion. This is a huge thing. It really is. This makes a huge difference, just in life in general, just moving around all day. It reduces tightness in certain areas. This is more, again, for older people, things like that will help with, like, if you're just like, you wake up every day and your legs hurt, it's going to help. Flexibility, stretching, it helps a lot. Enhances daily movement in general. And of course, believe it or not, flexibility increase does equal a strength increase. That's a real thing. And then, of course, it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which regulates blood pressure, heart rate, and eases you into a state of rest and recovery. So that's what the parasympathetic nervous system does. It's right there on the screen. I don't have to look it up. Of course, examples of this are just stretching. You have dynamic, active, and passive stretching. Dynamic is more, it's a pre-workout stretch. It's adding a little bounce and work to increase your elastic properties, essentially, getting yourself warmed up. Active stretching is also, targets specific muscles held in a fixed position with no outside force, like an overhead tricep stretch, or if you're like leaning on something, like, stretching out your thighs or things like that. And then passive stretching is just when, we relax the muscles being stretched. So things like this would be, this is mostly used for post-workout, just like, doing a nice long hold, things like that, kind of almost yoga-ish in a sense, but, this is just more for essentially a passive stretching. Is just really resting. So that's about it. So, these should be incorporated everywhere. I do dynamic stretching quite a bit. I like it a lot. I believe in that most of anything. I'm not good at passive stretching at the end of the workout, but hey, I've learned with a lot of going through a lot of physical therapy in my life that stretching is highly important, and I never do a workout without it. So now let's just move on to what are the most important popular workout plans out there. They're right for you. Now you know the 4 main overall categories. Of course, with popular workout programs, for lack of a better word for these things out there, we're not going to cover cardio. That was just covered in endurance. That is what it is, running, jogging, all that good stuff. However you fit that into a plan is up to you. We're going to kind of cover a few just really popular ones, and hopefully it makes sense. Strength training, of course, is also already covered. Again, it's the usage of free weights, bands, and body weight. But there's a big point here I want to bring up with strength training. And of course, it's great for everyone. Just to reiterate, in case you forgot, that you want to lose weight, gain muscle, gain strength, relieve stress, etc. Now, the big thing I want to talk about is the hypertrophy versus strength, or hypertrophy, however you say it. Basically, hypertrophy is there to increase physical size of the muscles. This will take several months, most likely, for results. It's nothing fast. While strength, it's training your nervous system and to use many muscle fibers as needed. And it's enhancing your mind-body connection. What that really means is you're kind of breaking your muscle fibers down, all that to repair a little bigger. So, it just produces strength and size, probably a little quicker than hypertrophy. This is how you looked at it some more, kind of look at it more like a bodybuilding. More conventional bodybuilders are kind of, I wouldn't say powerlifting or bodybuilding uses either one. Everyone, pretty much, most workout plans will use a combination without you realizing it. Like a good example is if you do chest twice a week, right? You have a heavy day, that's going to be more strength training. And then you have a light day, it's typically going to be hypertrophy training. The real difference here of the two is it comes down to intensity, repetitions, rest periods, sets, and exercise selection. I threw an example down here that I stole, sources down below. And then as you can see with the hypertrophy, they doing a row for exercises. They're both doing 20 pounds, 20 pounds of their 1 rep max, which is 20 pounds, I guess. And then their intensity, what they're doing is, 16 pounds for hypertrophy, 18 for strength. And then you're seeing, as you can see, more reps, less of a rest period on hypertrophy, less reps in a higher rest period, and a little more sets for strength. So that's really what the big difference is. Now you can kind of see what I'm talking about between light and heavy days. That brings us to high intensity or interval training, or HIIT. It's very, very popular. This is a form of endurance training. This is huge out there. You've probably heard of it by now. I think the F45 is one of the soccer players out there. He does a class on it. You'll see a ton of HIIT training out there, just programs that are work around this. You'll see a lot of people doing it in the gym. It's designed to raise your heart rate with intense exercise and short breaks. A lot of advantages to this, of course. It's very time efficient. Your typical workout's going to last anywhere between 4 and 30 minutes. It will help you burn fat. It's going to help manage your stress levels. Pretty much any working out will. It can be done anywhere, and it does lower your blood pressure. Really, you can do this outside running. You can just do whatever exercise you want in the form of it. And as long as you have outside and you have access and space, you're good to go. Suppose it lowers your blood pressure. However, with advantages come disadvantages. Not suitable for everyone. So you have to have a basic fitness level before you can even do this first. You're not coming off the couch, never doing this and jumping into HIIT training. You'll just give yourself a damn heart attack. It can cause dizziness because you're moving at really high rates of speed. You're exerting so much effort in such a little amount of time. If you're not properly hydrated or prepared, or again at that basic level of fitness, you're going to make yourself real dizzy real fast, and it can get dangerous. You can leave your muscles feeling sore, of course, because you're exerting great force, in a short amount of periods of time. You're just not used to it. It's not natural. So, of course, you're going to be sore. You're likely going to be sore no matter what workout plan you do anyway. And then there's a higher risk of injury while doing this, of course, because you can just mess up. If you're doing, like, let's just say, it's a form of Tabata training. It's kind of like HIIT training. So let's just say I'm doing a sprinting on a treadmill, right? So I'm going 10 seconds is hard. A 1-to-2 ratio is what I would call. I'm doing 10 seconds of as fast as I possibly can. Like I'm talking like I'll put 10, on a treadmill. Boom, boom, boom. 10 seconds, nonstop. Go, 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 go. And then boom, 20 seconds. I'm just going down to like a walk. Okay, 20 seconds. And 10, 20, just like that for like 2 minutes. You make one misstep on that thing, boom, you can roll an ankle. You can do all that. It's just too easy to do. Same thing if you're outside or whatever. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If it's jumping rope, doing rows, a million examples. You can do swimming. You can do any sort of endurance activity. And you can make it into HIIT training. So of course, there's things to think about. So just understand that don't jump into this. Like this is not anyone jumps into it. Just remember, if you can do this, great. If not, don't worry about it. You get there. And it leads us to CrossFit. What CrossFit really is, it's hugely popular since I think 2000 when it came out. It's a combination of powerlifting, heavy strength lifting, and various calisthenics. So really a combination of endurance and strength and the overall thing. It'll be typically done as a workout of the day. If you can go to CrossFit.org or CrossFit.com, whatever it is, you can go there and you can read all the workouts of the day for free. It's great. And that's awesome. So let's talk advantages. Why is it awesome? It's efficient and they're intense exercises. A lot of times you're doing like a form of HIIT with weights. Essentially, it's kind of a good breakdown of it. You're doing a form of HIIT with weights. And also you're doing, sometimes there's endurance in there. Sometimes, they mix it up. It's pretty interesting. It varies day to day. It's improved physical and mental health. It makes you feel good. You're achieving goals. It's very goal-based. A lot of competition in there. We're going to talk about that strong community support here. And of course, you're going to do better. And then you get the strong community support, whether you're on the message boards. Typically, the people here, you're going to go to a CrossFit gym and it's almost like a cult following. It seriously is. It's just the way it goes, and but it's a huge thing. People love it. Like it's almost like always CrossFit versus strength training. I did CrossFit many years ago, about 17 years ago now. I tried it for 6 months, and when I was in the army, and I got to say, my push-ups, sit-ups, and running were highly improved, and they were great. However, I didn't really gain any size. I don't think I got too stronger. I got stronger with my core muscles, So, but it's, it is what it is. It's fun while it made sense at the time, but whatever. Of course, disadvantages: expensive memberships. Typically, a CrossFit gym is going to range anywhere from $100 or more a month. This is very niche, especially in this day and age. Like, that's just purely expensive. I mean, it comes with a lot. It comes with the training. It comes with classes. It comes with probably a nutritionist. It probably comes with a whole slew of things. And it's probably a good deal overall. I mean, if that's what you want, awesome. Just make sure you're getting something out of it. Again, your risk of injury goes up on this because if you're not, a lot of things, like especially when it comes to like the kipping pull-ups, they have you swinging and doing the pull-ups, and that's just over time you're going to kill your rotator cuffs. Just go watch any of the old CrossFit games. You'll watch injuries left and right during those things. Lack of personalization and programming. Like I said, they're always based off a workout of the day, so you don't get to go in and say, I want to do chest today, or I'm feeling a little extra, so I want to do legs. There's none of that. It's like, here's what you're going to do. And the programming is, and first, the other thing you want to talk about here is like, why you're doing this. Like, what's your fitness level at? There's nothing that's really going to orient towards you. It's a very baseline thing. Like, you will do this today. They can scale it. There's scalability, but, and that's what we'll talk about, scalability. But let's just say, I'm trying to improve my shoulders and chest. I walk all day, every day for work, so I don't really I'm not to touch on legs, but I'm not going to do them all the time. I really want to improve my upper body. You're not going to get that here. So you don't get to program it to your needs, is what I'm saying. Scalability, it used to never exist. It's a newer thing I've seen. It does exist as long as you know the exercise, and that's kind of the point of the gym. Is like, unless you know every one of these exercises, I can read through half of them right now. I've been lifting for a very long time. I can tell you what half those damn exercises are. Still, it's their own little world. If you've been doing CrossFit for 5 years, you probably got it. But unless you're just starting, then you probably need to go to a gym, because I wouldn't recommend just watching videos and trying to figure it out on your own. So scalability does exist. As long as you know the exercises, you can just do the workout of the day for free. But most people do not. I would say 99% of the people cannot do that. An example of this here is from Wednesday, January 18th of this year, is the Michael. It's like, okay, do 3 rounds for time, run 800 meters. It's half a mile. 50 back extensions and 50 sit-ups. Pretty easy, right? And again, they got scaling down there of like, your intermediate is just going to be, okay, run 800 meters, do 35. And the beginner options, run 400 meters and 25, and just do different forms of good mornings and different forms of sit-ups. So that's cool. As long as you know what these are, it's great. The other ones I read, I should have posted an example of one that was just super confusing, because they get confusing fast. But yeah, this is for you. Awesome. End of the day, do what keeps you interested in. What will keep you interested, what you're able to do at your fitness level, and whatever achieve your goals. There's a million more options to do that. For lack of timing, that's about where I'm going to stop in this video, or for timing, not lack of. Again, there's 1,000 million billion ideas. Each one of those categories can go down 1,000 rabbit holes. So again, put it down in the comments below. Which ones are you going to plan to do? Which ones do you do? Which one have you been interested to do but too scared to try? If you have any questions or anything like that, want me to dive deeper in any of these, please let me know. I will. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and please share. Let's grow this community. And hopefully you guys are enjoying these new videos. And remember, no matter what, stay strong.